Do not squat heavy until you can first master the bodyweight squat. If you are unable to get your hips below your knees when you squat without weight, it's quite likely that your hips are unhealthy, and the same goes for your knees and lower back. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to squat, why you should squat, and the common faults that occur when squatting with weight and without. The key to movement freedom is the squat. Having a good functional squat improves your athletic ability, keeps your hips, knees, and back healthy, and is the precursor to all functional movements. The majority of the world squats every single day. It's only in the Western world where a good looking squat is becoming rarer and rarer. So in order for you to maintain your functional ability long term and have freedom and energy in your movement, you want to learn how to squat, but you want to also learn how to squat well. In this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can do that. There's really only one way to squat, but there are a couple ways to set up for the squat. Ideally, you want to have your heels of your feet right underneath the width of your shoulders, with your toes slightly turned out. And then before you begin the squat, you want to create some tension through your hips and through the arch of your foot by screwing your feet into the ground and pushing your knees out to the side. So before I've even made any movement, my arch of my foot is activated and ready to stabilize, while I still got some tension through my glutes to help support me through the movement. Once I got this tension throughout my legs, I can begin the squat by pushing my hips back and then down, lowering down as if I'm going to sit onto a small stool. In this bottom position, you want to be able to keep your heel flat on the ground and your hips past the height of your knees. If, however, you have longer femurs, you may find, or longer legs in general, you may find this position very difficult and very uncomfortable in the bottom position. Therefore, you can adjust your foot stance, so you might want to try a little bit of a wider squat. Likewise, if your legs are a little bit shorter or you struggle with the external rotation of your hips, you might find it a little bit better to have your feet in closer and your toes facing forward. But really, you want to begin with your feet just underneath the width of your shoulders, and then you can adjust and play around with the position and find which one works best for you. It's best to get very familiar with your start position so you don't have to guess every single time, and you can come straight back in to that squat stance, which is very useful in a lot of other movements as well. So it's good to know where your ideal squat stance is. Do not ever let your knees cave in when you squat. Doing so will put a lot of damage throughout your knee and long-term cause overuse injuries in your knee. So always when you're in that bottom position, drive your knees out to turn on your glutes to give you more strength and stability to stand out of that bottom position of the squat. As you're squatting down, the knees should be tracking over your toes and stay in that position on the way back up as well. One of the biggest faults that you see is, especially when people try to lift heavy weights when the body isn't ready to do so, when they're down in this bottom position, to compensate for the weakness in their hips, their knees cave in like this, which puts a lot of damage on your knee long term. This is often due to either an unideal start position, limited mobility in your ankle, or not enough strength or stability in your glutes and in your hips. So doing exercises like hip thrust and leg extensions and ankle mobility will help improve the stability of your leg and allow you to squat with your knees tracking in a good position. Another really common fault that I see in the squat is that when people get to the bottom position, they are unable to keep their heels on the ground. When you squat, ideally, your knees should track over your toes. So in this bottom position, my ankle is flexed so that my knee is tracking over my middle toe there. If your knees or if your ankles are tight, you're going to find it very hard to squat without your knees going over your toes. Some people compensate with this with their heels coming up, or they compensate with, again, their knees caving in and the arch of their foot collapsing. To fix that, do a lot of ankle mobility to help increase the range of motion, having your knee going over your toe. The worst fault that I see with the squat is squatting above parallel. So many people either lack the confidence to squat with their hips below their knees or are just too lazy to squat with their hips below their knees. Squatting with your hips below your knees is the end position of the squat. That's the goal that you want to try and get to. That is where you're going to get the best benefits through strengthening your knees, hips, and ankles through their full range of motion. Often people with longer legs may struggle to get into that bottom position, which is why playing around with your start position helps to find where you can ideally get into the lowest position in the squat. So everybody should have the ability to squat with their hips below their knees. It's a fundamental human movement that is just as important as walking is. Apart from lack of confidence or laziness, some of the common reasons why people may be unable to squat with their hips below parallel is one, maybe some tightness in the hip, restricting how well you can externally rotate at your hips to open up your legs and squat into that bottom position. Another common reason might be weak glutes or just a weak core. When your muscles are weak, your brain doesn't trust you in the bottom position, so it won't let you go there. You could bend your knee that much and bend your hips that much, likely, but when you load on your back or when you're holding the weight and your muscles aren't strong enough to hold yourself in that end position, your brain won't let you go there. So it's really a confidence thing. It's getting used to being confident and reassuring your brain that you have the strength and the stability to sit in the bottom position of the squat. Doing exercises like bottom up squats or box squats or squat holds is really good and powerful way to help build some confidence in the bottom position of the squat and improve your mobility and stability down there. If you apply all these principles to your squat, you will look after the health of your body, reduce the risk of injury, and improve your functional competence, allowing you to have movement freedom long term. If you want to learn even more about squatting and have a program to increase your mobility and stability in the squat, I created a free program called the 12 Days of Squats to give you a squatting task to do every day for 12 days so you can improve your strength, stability, and confidence in the bottom position of the squat. You can click the link in the description or in the comments to get access to that for free. Don't delay fixing your squat, because the longer you go without squatting, the longer the journey is to come back to optimal hips, knees, and ankles, strength, stability, and functional ability. So begin now to start improving your squats to give yourself confidence and freedom in movement in the bottom position of the squat.